AWS Cloud Practitioner Certification, Security Section, Security Services. Topics covered: AWS Network Access Control List, Security Groups, AWS KMS, AWS Shield, AWS WAF, Amazon Inspector, and Amazon GuardDuty. The first service, Network Access Control List. A network access control list acts as a firewall controlling traffic in and out of subnets. The traffic routed within the subnet is not affected by the network access control list. The next service, Security Groups. A security group controls traffic in and out of AWS resources that it is associated with. A security group can only be associated with the resources within its own VPC. When it comes to network access control lists and security groups, we should also be able to compare them. First, let's compare the operational level. Network access control lists are associated with subnets, and security groups are associated with the AWS resources. Next, let's compare their ability to remember the source. Stateful means if the traffic is allowed in, it is automatically allowed out because the service remembers the source. Stateless means it requires separate inbound and outbound rules because the service does not remember the source. Network access control list is stateless and security group is stateful. Next, let's compare their default mode. Network access control lists allow traffic by default. You can add rules to explicitly allow or deny traffic. On the other hand, security groups deny traffic by default. You always have to add a rule to allow traffic. You cannot add a rule to explicitly deny traffic. Next service, AWS Key Management Service, also known as AWS KMS. AWS Key Management Service manages encryption keys that is used to encrypt data at rest or in transit. For example, you can configure DynamoDB to encrypt data by using an encryption key managed by AWS KMS. Next service, AWS Shield. AWS Shield prevents applications from denial of service attacks, also known as DDoS attacks. DDoS attacks are designed to make an application unresponsive by sending a large number of requests which cannot be handled by the application. The next service, AWS Web Application Firewall, also known as WAF, WAF. AWS WAF allows you to allow or deny web traffic into your application. You may ask, Dan, isn't that similar to what network access control list does? The difference is that the network access control list operates at the subnet level and the web application firewall operates at the application level. For example, assume that you have identified that your application has received malicious requests from a certain IP address. Within AWS WAF, you can configure a web access control list to block that IP address. Next service, Amazon Inspector. Amazon Inspector runs automated security assessments. After running an assessment, it provides you a list of security issues prioritized by level and possible solutions. The next service is Amazon GuardDuty. Amazon GuardDuty is a service that continuously monitors the network activity and account behavior and detects security threats. It analyzes data from various AWS sources, including VPC, flow logs, and DNS logs.